Do you have this deep ache in your butt that you can't seem to get rid of even though you're constantly stretching your hips every day? In this video, I'm going to talk about this pain in the butt that is quite literally a pain in the butt, and then show you the stretches and exercises that will help you resolve this pain and get rid of this problem for good. Piriformis syndrome is a common cause for that deep pain in the gluteal region. For some people, the small little muscle in your hips can even cause sciatica pain symptoms, which is that shooting nerve pain or pins and needles that you may feel down your leg when that piriformis muscle gets so tight that it presses down onto our sciatic nerve running down our leg. The piriformis is a small hip rotator muscle that sits deep in our hips underneath our glute muscles. This small little muscle is a little more complex than most other muscles in its function because its function is directly dependent on the position of our hips. What I mean is that our piriformis muscle actually has two different functions depending on where our hips are. When our hip is in neutral or in hip extension, our piriformis muscle helps us to externally rotate our hip. But when our hip is flexed, our piriformis muscle helps us to internally rotate and horizontally abduct our hip. And that is why when we're doing exercises to target this muscle, we have to keep the anatomy and function of this muscle in mind. So like I said before, this muscle can quite literally be a pain in the butt. And if you know me from my other videos, I like to give you a comprehensive guide to resolving your pains and aches for good. So this video is no different. I will be showing you ways to loosen up the piriformis muscle first to help you with symptom relief. Then I will show you the strengthening exercises that are often needed to permanently get rid of this pain. Most of the time, we can't do one and not the other because a lot of people don't realize this, but when a specific muscle of ours is tight, very commonly it is because our brain actually wants it to be tight. And the reason why our brain wants it to be tight can be because the brain senses that this particular muscle in our body is weak. So it is telling that muscle to be super tight all the time to support us. And that is why even if we were to stretch that tight muscle daily or even multiple times a day, hoping to not feel that discomfort in our hips, our nervous system or our brain will always beat what we want it to do. And as a result, that deep pain in our glute just never ever goes away. So to permanently resolve this problem, first we have to stretch the piriformis muscle so it is in a better state for us to strengthen it. Then we can put the stretches and strengthening exercises all together to finally resolve this pain in the butt for good. Now that we know more about the reasons behind these exercises I'm about to show you, let's now move on to the exercise demonstration so you can finally learn how you can fix your piriformis pain syndrome once and for all. And also, make sure you stay till the end of the video because the first few exercises are the usual, more conventional exercises that most people probably already know. But it is the later ones that I find most of my clients don't do and are the ones that a lot of you might be missing in your exercise routine. So make sure you stay till the end of the video so that you can solidify your knowledge on the best exercises to help fix piriformis pain syndrome. So the first exercises is the figure 4 piriformis stretch. This exercise, you've probably seen it done a million times, but I just want to make sure that it is included in this video so that you don't neglect this one, just because it is quite an important one. To do this exercise, you could do it either seated or on your back. So I'll show you both of those variations. The first one, I'm just going to show you seated because this one is super easy to do if you're working your desk job or just sitting around. Feel free to just do this anytime you are seated. Put your ankle on top of your other leg, and then you're making this figure 4 right here. If you feel like you don't really feel a stretch, feel free to push this knee down with your hand or your arm and then hold. So you should feel this really stretching, and I really feel that. So because we mentioned in the video before with the piriformis, it helps to internally rotate your hip when your hip is in flexion. That's why when we're stretching it, we want to put our hip into flexion and into external rotation. Press down, and you want to hold it for about 45 seconds to a minute. And feel free to do both sides. But if you have piriformis syndrome on one side, you probably want to just be doing that one side. So essentially doing this. And I just show you on the side here, same thing, like that. Put it on top and just lean into it. Feel free to do this exercise throughout the day so you can feel that symptom relief. The other variation of the figure 4 piriformis stretch is laying on your back. So to do this, very similar. Laying on your back, your leg's gonna be at 90 degrees. The other leg's also gonna be about 90 degrees. Use your hand, you're gonna go cross into your other leg and you pull this leg towards you. Feel free to rest your head down so you're not straining your neck. And basically, again, you're gonna feel this stretch all along here. If this is too hard, and if your piriformis is super, super tight, you could do it like this, where your other foot is on the ground, this leg is on top of the foot, and all you're gonna do is press down onto this other leg. So this is an easier exercise, so it's a regression of the other one that we just saw. So you can either do this one or this one. After that, we move on to the strengthening portion of the exercises. So the second exercise is the side lying hip external rotation. So to do this exercise, we're putting our hip into neutral. The other leg is slightly bent, and then the top leg is in neutral position. So that means your whole leg is aligned with your torso. Right away, you can externally rotate that foot and then just bring it up and you're gonna hold it. Hold it for 5 seconds, come back down, keep that leg into external rotation the whole time. Come back down, again, keep it externally rotated, come up, and keep it externally rotated and come back down. So I already feel a burn right around here. So I'll just show you at the back here, same thing. So legs bent at the bottom, this leg externally rotated out, lift it up, hold it, come back down. If you feel like you're arching your back a lot, you could also lay on your elbow like that. Point your toes to the ceiling, lift, keep it pointed up, come back down. So with this exercise, you want to do 3 sets of 6 reps. So now we have the seated hip internal rotation. To strengthen the piriformis, we can also strengthen it when our hip is in flexion. How to get your hip into flexion very easily is in a seated position. So turn that foot out. By doing this, you're getting yourself into hip internal rotation. And then come back in. One more time, you're just going to turn that foot out, hold it, and then you're going to come back in. If this is too easy to do, feel free to use a band. And I like to tie the band at the ankles. Right now my chair is a little bit low. If you had a chair that's a little high, it might be a little bit better. But what you essentially want to do, same thing. Now it's just going to be a bit of added resistance. You want to bring that foot up into hip internal rotation without moving your torso like I just did. Make sure your torso is straight and then lift the foot up. Hold it for 5 seconds, come back down, lift it up, come back down. And same thing with the other side. If you can, hold it for 5 seconds and you want to do 3 sets of 8 for this exercise. Feel free to do it with the band or without the band. So the last exercise, we're going to tie it all together and strengthen our hips as a whole. And when we're doing this though, we do add a component to this exercise where it targets that piriformis. Just watch until the end here. I personally like this fabric band because this offers a lot of resistance for this kind of exercise. You're going to put it just above your knees. Oh, the name. The name of this exercise is the glute bridge with external rotation pulses at the top. Have the band above your knees, feet are on the ground, and then hands are on the ground. Putting it all together, we're gonna first do a glute bridge. When we're doing this glute bridge, make sure you're pushing those knees apart so they're in line with your feet and in line with your shoulders. Come up, 3 points of contact of your feet on the ground. Squeeze your butt to come up. And at the very top, you want to still keep the 3 points of contact of your feet onto the ground. And you're going to do pulses at the top. Because like we said earlier, our piriformis muscle, when your hip is in neutral, it does external rotation. So to strengthen this, you want to put your hip into a neutral position and then do some of these pulses against the resistance band into external rotation. Once we've done about 10 of these pulses, We can lead with our hips coming back down, keeping our knees apart. If you're not tired yet, you can go again, right? Feet, 3 points of contact. Push your knees out, drive your hips, squeeze your butt to come up. Do these pulses. Do about 10. And then once you're done the 10, keep your knees apart, feet are still in contact with the ground. Come back down. So that exercise looks really easy, but if you have a fabric band like the one I'm showing you right now, this one is a very tough one to do because even just those 2 reps I just showed you, my hips are burning right now. So if this is too hard, feel free to use just a regular elastic band. But if you want to challenge yourself, probably go get yourself a set of these. You can get them easily on Amazon. I might even link one down below for you so then you can check that out. If you want to get it from there, feel free to. But these have lasted me 5 years, 5 to 10 years by now. They're still a little dirty, but they still work very well. So that's it. I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button below if you learned anything new from me today and if you enjoyed watching this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel as I keep putting out more physio-related rehab content for you. And if you have any content ideas, I would love to hear from you. So drop a comment down below and I'll respond back as soon as I can.